I think that's amazing. So thank you for staying, because I know we're very busy, and we'll try to keep this short and sweet. First of all, I want to introduce our board members that are on island, and that would be Michelle LeMay and Roseanne Jones and Deb Valentina, who work very, very, very hard on our behalf, on the center's behalf, and they have been, God, just centurions and stalwarts of the center, and they're just wonderful, amazing people. And we also have two off-island board members, Joan and Richard Morgan, who have been with us, actually, on Patrick and my spiritual journey. They've been with us since 1998. And so when we first started the center, we didn't know anybody. So we had nobody to ask to be on our board, because we didn't know. So we went back and got these two people who actually are very steeped in this philosophy and offer a lot, even though they're off island. But hopefully they're watching today too. So hi, Joan and Richard. Okay, so that given, we want to start by just a little brief history that Patrick's going to give of where we've been.
Yeah, it's just not since the very beginning. How many of you have been here since the very beginning? I know a lot of you have been. Laurel, yeah. Tony, I mean, pretty much the beginning. It doesn't have to be the first day we arrived. I'm just talking about. But yeah, Kelly. But what we're really talking about is the last 2.5 years since we moved in here. We'll kind of catch up. Before that, we were at the Aston Aloha, or Aloha Aston. I'm not sure which one it is. But all I know is we were in a tiny little room in the back of that hotel. And Kelly knows, because Kelly met me out in front every day going, with his little mopeds going, you ready to set up? Because we were what we call church in a box. And we had to set up, and our bookstore was a little table. And it was just, real grassroots. That's the only thing I can say. We were so divinely guided. And as I'm looking out now, it's just amazing. And then when we moved in here, we got pretty much kicked out of the hotel, not because we were rowdy, but because do you remember this morning I talked about the divine, it's either we leap or we get pushed? Well, we were there. We knew we had to grow. We were sneaking chairs in. It's like, over there, it's like a room for 52, and it was 75 in there. And so I guess that wasn't that honest, was it? No. I was divinely guided. But what happened was we were busting out at the seams, and we had to go. But if you had placed this in our consciousness, we would not have been able to afford it. It was one of those moments in your evolution that says you must move. And then when we saw this, we just let it unfold. And Rita is one of these wonderful, wonderful co-spiritual directors that just say, we'll do it. And I go, yeah, but did you see this and the numbers? Because we were really popped up in the numbers. And we did. We had 2 weeks at the Lemongrass restaurant. Because we had nowhere to go, and
who was at the Lemongrass restaurant?
Who's at the Lemongrass? No, this is the cool part of the Lemongrass is that when we had like a couple weeks there, and we said we have a little church thing if you don't mind us coming. Well, first Sunday, it's like people that we hadn't seen in years. Oh, they're in a new spot, and are they going to have food too at the Lemongrass? But the place that we're like this sitting in there, and I'm going.
The poor guy had to carry the chairs up the stairs every Saturday night.
He was so wondering. He goes, "Oh, you have a little bit bigger congregation than I thought you had." I think he thought we were just going to have like a book club meeting, And so we're like in there, and all of a sudden I go, this has to open. So how this miraculous, we were on a plane going to something, our ordination, and we had no place to come back to. And as we landed, the phone rang, and they said, I'm sorry, it looks like it's going to fall through. The guy doesn't want, and I'm thinking, but it can't fall through. Because we've never missed a Sunday and we don't intend to. Forward ahead, we got, all of a sudden he called back, he said, just kidding, like 4 days ago, he goes, oh, he's ready to do it now. I'm not kidding you, this is the power of spirit. I remember the property managers wanting to do this, and they're doing the prices and all of a sudden, and I could feel them wanting to go, no. I could feel that they were like, no, this isn't going to work. 100, how many people do you have? Oh, we went up to 100. 100 people in the professional building? So what happened was they were saying no, but all of a sudden it went like this. Yes. I swear I thought Elizabeth Montgomery from Bewitched was in there because you could tell them, they go, this is, there's a lot of people. Yes. And so here we are. We said yes to it. And the biggest thing I want to say is that when we opened it, it didn't look quite like this. And our community came together. And I know that Kelly's got a little back to remind him of those days, and our beautiful Matt, who's no longer with us, everybody putting in floors. And this is why I know we're a global community, by the way. I put on Facebook, not GoFundMe, because people are like, oh, another GoFundMe. We put on there, we need your assistance off island as well. We need to raise about $12,000. And because Rita didn't want to wait another week, another in 8 days or 10 days. So we were like, let's get in this place. How's it going to be possible? Between us and those every day, Facebook. We need chairs. We need this. We need that. And that money started coming in. They were buying all of the things. We made a big list, and they started checking them off. People started checking them off here on island and there. I wanted to just let you know one little tidbit that we always talk about. On my list, very long list, everything was purchased. Checks and PayPal and everything. There was only one thing that was not purchased, and it tells you something about community, is that when we moved in here, we had a down payment with $1,600 because the people that were here before had lights. Their lights were $1,600 a month. And so what happened was I put that on there because, without lights, basically we'd be in the dark. But anyway, it was the only thing not purchased, which tells us something, does it not? That, how they say we'll turn the lights on? People don't really want to back turning the lights on. I mean, Michelle and I were always joking, said, so everybody comes in, there's no lights, and so no piano, no. But we're here. But it told me something. It told me that you really wanted to be a part of this, and I have some ownership of that. For some reason, the electrical stuff doesn't really resonate to one and their donations. But I tell you that because it is so important to realize where you are in your giving, and that we're not alone here. Even though we're on this island, we have people that are making sure that these lights do get turned on and that we continue to grow. Today, we are a global community. We had people from Medford, Oregon. We had people from Reverend Doug's church, 7 of them, coming in here. People plan their vacations. I mean, it goes on and on, you guys, so that they could be here. I don't know about you, but when I used to take vacations, centers and churches were not the first thing on my list that I was making but we are. So whatever that infusion is, whatever that vibration is that these people get when they come off island and on island, people we don't even know, I just say thank you, and we're doing a really good job here. It's 2.5 years later, we're here.
Okay, so thank you, Patrick.
Yes.
And we start where we are. That's how this whole center's been built. So I want to make sure you listen very carefully to what I'm saying so you hear it in the right way, okay? Okay, so what I've been doing and what we've been doing is, I actually said to myself, I want to resonate with people that are either greater than I am or at the same level so I can learn and so I can grow. I want people to come forward that are going to help us to move the center forward. I need a spiritual mentor, so to speak. And, it's very interesting because I got a call from Maureen Murphy, and she had been at the Hindu monastery. And she said, Sadashivanatha Swami asked about your center, because we meet with him every sacred journey, and he has a visitation with us and talks to us and shows us around the temple, and we sit and talk about wonderful, amazing things. Anyway, he wanted to know about our center. She didn't bring it up. He did. He said, you people need something more than where you are. You need to be out in nature. He said, do you have a building fund in place? And not, she's told him about the jar over here. And he said, well, as soon as you do have one in place, he said, I want to donate to it. We want to help you. to move into your next incarnation. And so I was real humble about it. I said, when I wrote him, I said, "Oh, we're so grateful for your mentorship." And he said, "No, I want to help more pragmatically." So not only has he come kind of on board as a mentor, he's come on board pragmatically speaking, because he wants to see us move forward. Because, and he said this to it as the end of our meeting with him, he said, "The reason we don't do this for other spiritual centers, just so you know that, we don't do this. We don't help other spiritual centers. But we feel that your teaching is so aligned with our teaching, and that you just do it in a different way. And we like the way you do it." So he's very supportive, and doesn't mean he's writing us a check or something. It just means he's going to be there when we're ready. He gave me and Patrick what we call the nudge, because we have 2.5 years left in this building right now. 2.5 years. That is not very long. And we know that more than likely, first of all, we're growing out of it, and we have no place for our children. And second of all, they're probably going to skyrocket the rent up, to where it's going to be ridiculous, because we tried to rent this place over here, and it was like 2 times as much as what this is. So we have to move, we have to start moving toward this. And that's what today is about. So we have another meeting with the Swami at the end of the month, or the end of July, I think, to talk about where we've come from there. But he wants to help. He even wants to help us as much to help us with our printing. He said, if you have something you want to print that is, going to cost you $2,000 or $3,000, we have a whole printing session. Let us help you. So it was that kind of thing, because he's really... I don't know why, guys. This is the way Spirit works.
Absolutely.
This is the way the center's been built. It's things that you just don't expect, and I never expected that. I don't think we did, right? So, yes.
I just want to interject one thing. Why Rita said, be careful to really listen to us, what we're saying about the Swami, is because I don't want to be walking down the street going, I hear you're moving in next door to the temple.
That's not
because
true.
this is what happens sometimes.
Or I hear he's writing a big check to you. That's not what's happening here.
So I really want you to know, and I know everyone's going, no, not me, but you know what I'm talking about. You say one thing, and then before it gets the telephone, it gets there. And we just want to make sure that we keep our relationship with the Swami pure. And it's not about that, even though there is 100 extra acres. No, but I do. But one thing I did want to say is that I want it to be where people go. You know how everyone says, "What are you doing?" I'm going to the Hindu temple. I just walk into it, and there's a feeling I feel. And we're getting that as a global community too. These people that said, "I walked in here, and there's such a vibration going on with your community. It is wonderful." So that's what they say when they come on there. Go, we're going to go to the Hindu monastery, CSL Kauai, surfing, vegan restaurant.
And they're already doing that, because we have people come here every Sunday and say, "I need to go to CSL Kauai." So that is a great thing, and which brings me to the idea that we are a global community. We are a global community. There's no escaping from it. This center is built on being a global community. We are the foundation, the people that live here, and we are the ones that create the space here and the ohana and the spirit here. But then we reach out, and there's people coming from all over the world. And I'll have to tell you that when I was when we came here on vacation in 2012, I was sitting on the beach, and there was this basket maker named Donnie, and I was very naive at the time and just wanted to start a center. And I just said to him, we're coming back, and I'm bringing you some tomato sauce, and we're starting a spiritual center, and people are going to come from the mainland. And he said, "Oh no, they're going to come from all over the world." That was that little basket maker, Donnie. And I did find him when we moved back and gave him his tomato sauce. But
and he gave us a basket.
It took us 6 months to find him again, but we did. Anyway, we are a global community, and by the end of the year, we will have a capital fundraising campaign in place. We're waiting to figure out how to do the bank thing and to get somebody to advise us in that, and to make sure it's all done correctly. But by the end of the year, I was hoping we'd have it by July, because you know how I am, Patrick, but by the birthday. But I don't think that's going to be possible to have it by the birthday. But we will announce it then, and we will, because we have to put together a brochure. We have to do all these things in order to put the capital fundraising campaign in place. I mean, legally in place. So that's what we're working on next. And you're going to talk about going forward.
Yeah, just the sustainability, though.
Yeah.
I just want to add that in. Yeah, so we're going to get that in place by the end of the year. I think I said it before. The next 2.5 years, what our intention is to build that center here, so that all we're really doing, like what we're doing, we're continuing to do that. But we always have to be very careful about what they call designated funds. People saying, oh, I want to designate it to that or whatever the new vision will be. Unless we sustain this and continue to grow where we are, that's not possible. Because we have to be able to. So I'm at the idea of how exciting it would be to move towards it, new visions, new ideas, and some of the old, but start to be, so it's so big. I mean, I see that it's so big that how we're sitting here right now will be our classes and our workshops and the things of that nature. They are life-changing. And I think that this is the exciting part for me, so that when these 30 kids walk out of there, they've got like cake on them because because they're in the kitchen right now. They're in the kitchen. How cool is that? Some people go, they're in the kitchen. I say they're in the kitchen. They're in the kitchen, man. That's how much we believe in what we're doing, that our kids love it so much and are gaining so much from Janice and this program that they're willing to sit in the kitchen. How great is that? So when these 30 kids come out and they're going, that was really tight in the kitchen, we're going to know that it's like, oh no, we're going to put you right over here now in our new place. That's how we're going to burst out of this place. And that's what today is really about. And I'm calling the new campaign Beyond Sundays. Beyond Sundays. And we all have different lives, and that's what makes us so interesting. I remember Russell, we talked about this whole idea of building and knowing what everybody's doing, like in a book. We don't have time to do that book, by the way, but I love that idea because we need to get to know what we do even outside of here, that maybe we can help each other and that type of thing. But what I know is that this whole idea Beyond Sundays, that I know there'll be a day that these classes are filled, because I don't know if everyone really knows what's really going on here at the real heartbeat. Some of you do, I know that. And some of you are more attracted to this and our healing circles, so that they're going to be so big that they're, we'll have to take those things down. And I'm kidding. But that's the kind of excitement I think we're going in Beyond Sundays. And listen, if you're just coming for a fill-up on a Sunday, get a battery charge, hallelujah, that's okay. This isn't about guilting you out and trying to, no, we don't even believe in that. But I do believe to take advantage of the things that we are offering here. We have on a normal week is exactly. It is so, and people, I'm watching, as we say, lives change. And we're being bold, exactly. We're being bold about that now. I'm watching, feeling, experiencing, not my ego, not saying, wasn't I great? Wasn't Rita great? Wasn't whatever. No, people are coming up and saying, I have shifted. I am not the same. And why? Because whatever we're doing here is allowing you to be you, to come back to you. Yeah?
Yeah.
I wish I was a little more passionate about it, but...
So with that in mind, we thought that we would ask our board, two amazing people, Deb, Roseanne, and Michelle, whose lives have shifted, to talk a little bit about that real briefly. I think you're first.
Okay. Can I stand up?
Yeah.
Okay.
So be careful of that speech.
Yeah. All right. Hello, everyone. Yeah. So I am so passionate about volunteering and participating in CSL events. I've been a member of CSL for 4 years, and it's an honor, really an honor, to give back by volunteering my time, my talents, and my money. So as I look back at who I was 4 years ago, I really, really don't recognize myself. I've transformed and grown beyond what really I could have imagined. And I get very emotional about it too. So I've used the science of mind philosophy to transform, to name a few, my relationship with my finances, clients, this community, and my dreams. And my dreams no longer seem like dreams, which feels very miraculous to me, because they're coming true. And so I've always had a dream to become a speaker in front of large audiences. And just this past week, I was invited to go to Melbourne, Australia, to learn to speak in front of large audiences. And it's just one example of like 4 years of just, as Patrick would say, I demand of the universe and then watch it happen. It's like I'm now calling them normicals instead of miracles, so I get that there's a difference. So some of my favorite classes that I've participated in, again, just to name a few, is the Science of Mind Principles, the foundation course, Flying Solo, that I participated in 3 times and will probably go for a 4th, the Abundance series, Patrick's awesome inner child work that in and of itself transformed me. And Rita's improv class that I am so sorry it's over on Tuesday because it's just a blast. So it is really my privilege to provide sacred service in several capacities. Again, to name some of them, I'm on the Malama team. And I'm an abundance steward where I count all of our beautiful contributions. I'm the coordinator for special events, and we have, of course, lots of special events here. And I serve on the board of trustees, which is my total privilege. And so being on the board really has given me a broader view of what it takes to create all of this. This just doesn't happen. I mean, it takes a lot of time and energy. It does take a village, and I know that's probably sometimes overused, but it does take a lot of people. And so I just want to leave you with that I really urge you to commit to contributing your gifts to making CSL thrive and continue to thrive even more. So mahalo.
Thank you. That's okay. Roseanne?
Mahalo. Well, in 1980, Rob introduced me to CSL, which was called Religious Science back then. And it changed my life. And I was raised, not to get into childhood things, but I was raised to have a glass ceiling above my head. And it may have been an inch lower than my head. Because for whatever reasons, it doesn't matter the reasons, but there was a glass ceiling, not just because I was female, that was part of it, but also because of many other family issues, whatever. Back in 1980, when I took classes at Religious Science CSL, it really shifted my viewpoint. I started really crashing through that glass ceiling. It made a difference, made a big difference. So all those years go by, we moved around. We ended up in Hawaii and Honolulu, and then we ended up here in Kauai. And when I heard that CSL was going to be brought to Kauai, I was excited, but cautious, because you never know, right? So, to my surprise and delight, these two were amazing and have continued to grow in their amazing way. And Rob and I both started taking classes from them, and they are the most amazing instructors. I'm going to use amazing over and over, but I've had some basic classes, but I went on through a 4-year program 4 years of investigating laughter, joy, and tears, and release of learning about science of mind, but learning about myself. Because the discovery is all about going within and finding out about ourselves. And that discovery made me burst through that glass ceiling, and it shattered. I mean, it shattered totally. I may have cracked it before, but it is totally, I'm flying high now. No ceilings. If there's any ceilings, they're below me now. So that's been my journey with this philosophy that opens yourself up to yourself and to the divine that is working in and through each one of us all the time. So I serve on the board of directors also. It's my privilege to do that. I've served on many boards in many capacities over the years. And by the way, this one is the easiest in that we are so in alignment spiritually that when any issues come up, as they do, if we have to, we just pull back and do a treatment and then face whatever we need to face and deal with it and move on. It's really, it's a blessing to be on the board with these fine people. And also, I am honored I love getting my fingers into a little retail, so I'm part of the bookstore, which is really falls under education. It's not just about magnets. It's about education, and the books that are chosen here are books that we all agree, and the ministers have said yes. And some of my favorite books are in that bookstore. So we want to see that grow into a bigger and better space too, because we are all about not our growth, but your growth. And that's what we're here for. So thank you.
I, too, came to my first service about 4 years ago, around the same time Deborah did. And I had been hearing about all these classes and this Sunday service. And I literally was not on island at the time on a Sunday to be able to come due to the career that I had with traveling. And then I came, and I knew I was home. I always had these same beliefs, these draws to metaphysicians and new thought thinkers, but I had no idea that there was a community of us that got together and lived this in our lives. And that's what I saw right away from hearing Rita and Patrick, just the transparency and the authenticity. Like, I just knew I wanted to be a part of it. So I was asked to share how my life has changed in 3 minutes. So what I'm going to do is say the highlights, because my life has drastically changed. I've become more of who I am and who I want to be. Who I was meant to be all along, just didn't know how to fully bring it out. And I've learned that by diving in. Like, I got involved immediately and started taking classes. Deborah mentioned several of the classes. And I had no idea what practitioner was. I had no idea really what anything was. I just knew I was following that voice inside that said more. Just show up, just keep coming. And so I did. I kept going to class and class and class. And then all of a sudden, 4 years have gone by and going to be licensed at the end of the summer for practitioner. And it was like this whirlwind. And to be totally transparent, it hasn't always been easy. It hasn't always been pretty. I've had to relearn a lot. I had to let go of a lot of old thinking, and it brought up stuff. And there were many times where I didn't know. Like, I just didn't know. But there was that part in me that did know, to just move through it, to just feel it, to just own it, to just keep making different choices and keep making different changes. And I did that because I had a support, and I kept moving forward because I wasn't alone. But that was because I got involved. You know, I took responsibility for my involvement here and how I wanted to be a part of. And so service, Deb talked about a service. Like, I have done a lot, and we have a joke. There's a photo that I found on Facebook with a woman wearing like 10 hats. And I can be wearing 2, 3, 4, even 1 hat at a time. And that's partly because I want to be a part of this community so much for it to grow, because I know how my life has changed, and I know that it can happen for anybody who really takes this out of Sundays and makes this an everyday practice. And for me to make this an everyday practice, I had to learn, I had to grow, I had to participate and become a part of it. And recently, because of all that, I have also decided to move forward in becoming a minister and go to ministerial school too. Yeah. Details will be announced or to be discovered and figured out, but that's the pull that I've been listening to in my heart. And that's why I invite each and every one of you, no matter how that looks. It doesn't have to be 10 hats. It can be that one step. It could be that one class. It could be that one movie. It could be that one volunteer position with everything that we've got going. Or it can be 10. It's always just what we feel guided and pulled towards, knowing that it makes a difference. All of it makes a difference. So mahalo for being a part of CSL.
Thank you. That was just perfect to take us into our next step. Okay, so, all right, we're getting there. We're getting to the end here, or the beginning. Yes, okay. So, well, I'll start with this way. Okay, so can everybody see that? No. Bring it, help me, Michelle. Just help me. We're going to get we keep saying we're going to buy a new easel, and then we don't order it. Okay. All right, so this, okay. All right, we'll tilt it a little.
I got it. We'll go right
over. Okay. All right. So this is the story, guys. You remember the Sunday that Patrick turned it over and it was blank, right? Well, what we realized after we were thinking about that was the reason that this was what Deborah called stale at the time, and that we needed something new, was because it was just a bunch of buildings. It's just a bunch of buildings, and we've been looking at these bunch of buildings, but we really haven't been looking at what's inside those buildings, or what's behind those buildings. And what's behind those buildings is everything that we stand for here, everything that we want to accomplish, everything that we see us becoming, and that we already are, because when I hold up this next thing behind the buildings is all of this. Now, I don't know if I can let's just get that down. Well, or does it stay?
It stays. You just keep talking.
All right, I'm going to let you. Michelle, why don't you come up and be my what's her name? Vanna. Okay. So we have a center. This is it. When I came up with what this really was, it was that each of you would know yourself.
No, but we can go like this.
Okay, that each of you would know yourself. That's like, we're not here to tell you who you are. We're here to allow you to move into becoming who you are, which we know is divine and which we know is perfect. Whoever you are, be proud. You are a divine idea in the mind of God. This is our mission for people, and you can see it on the sheet there, I think, on the one sheet that you were given, to know yourself. Our whole center is based on that. The Science of Mind and Spirit is based on that. It's written on the temple walls thousands and thousands of years ago. Know thyself. The Dalai Lama said it in the movie the other night. He said, everybody is so busy, out there trying to fix the planet, from the outside, trying to, create the next whatever, that they're leaving this behind. And once we get this, is what's going to shift our planet. Once we get this, is what's going to stop. These kids that I've here are hanging themselves from trees on this island that we don't hear about. This is what's going to stop it. When we can get each and every person to know themselves, or at least one, because every time somebody knows themselves, there's a ripple effect that happens, right? And that's what I'm banking on. And youth are very important to us, and Janice is going to speak in a minute. And the four corners that we have right now for this center, and I'm not going to read all the little words, but is spiritual practice, that everybody learns and grows in their own spiritual practice. Mandatory. That we have inspiration, that we inspire here, that we inspire others through everything that we do here. That we educate, that we help people to be educated in who they are. And that entails a lot of things, including our school that we're going to talk about. That we have a strong outreach program, because if we don't reach out, what's the good, right? That we reach out into our community, we do things for our community and for the world, and that's why we have our tithing program in place, is because every month we give out into the world, we just doesn't stay here, and that we invite people in. all of that. So these are the four corners that are built to help people do this. And then on the outside, what you'll see, and they're on the sheets back there, are all the ways that we can serve to help this happen. Because Patrick and I will do it, and the few people that are doing it now will do it. We'll do it. But can we do it in a bigger way in order to move to that picture back there and to envision and do and put into what the Swami sees us? Obviously, he sees it, or he wouldn't have called us in. In order to do that, we have to all come together to do it. We have to know that this is important enough for this world, and I feel that it is very important for this world. I think it's what we're doing is very important. I know there's other spiritual centers that are doing wonderful, amazing things, but we can do it in an even better, not better, but bigger way now, and in a way that I think its time has come. Religious science, science of mind, whatever you want to call it, ancient wisdom, new thought, it's been around forever. And people have been hiding in the closets about it because they used to behead people for it and burn them at the stake and all of that stuff. We don't have that anymore. So we have no excuse but to go out and be these divine light beings and say, yeah, we talk to God. Yeah, we are God. Yeah. We can heal. Yes. We can heal. Yes. This is what, this is how I changed my life. And I did it because I remembered who I was. So I'm very passionate about this. So this is behind that picture. This is what we're going to do, but it's going to take all of us. I know I coded it all with Community Ohana, CSL Kauai, Community Ohana, because we are a community as we work together and move out into the world and take this into our own lives. There's people in this congregation who go out into the world. All of you go out into the world and you do your thing in an even better way because you have some knowledge of yourself and something that's changed your life and made your life better. So you get to go out in the world and be better, counselors, be better healers in whatever you do, be better teachers, be better accountants, whatever it is that you do. It doesn't really matter. Musicians, it's everything. So I'm very passionate about this, and I just know that we can do this, and that we have 2.5 years in this building, and if it's going to take all of us coming together. And guys, the money will be here. The money was here. We didn't have the money to pay this rent when we were paying $252 a Sunday to be at the Aston Aloha, and we were talking about more, including coffee, and we were talking about all of a sudden pulling out our pocketbooks. My grandma Hertz is coming through. Who calls it pocketbooks? Remember when you were a little girl, they called it a pocketbook. Okay. Pulling out of our pockets, more than 10 times that amount so that we could pay the rent here. And we did. Because when you're steeped in principle and you know that you know that you know, then the law answers. And it comes, like you guys said, it comes. So, do you want to add anything to what I've said? No, Janice. Okay, so Janice is going to come up and just tell you a little bit about our youth program and our school that we will be opening. Take my word, guys, it is happening. It already has happened somewhere, and I know it's really needed. Okay.
I was hoping for the pulpit.
Oh, you want the pulpit? Take it. We can bring it back.
Oh, thank you.
So,
I can set my stuff.
one thing you have to know about Janice, like I said before, she sat here when we had no children for how many years now? 3 to 4 years, and just sat there.
We had Kaua'i in Princeville.
And then we had Kaua'i, yeah.
In Princeville, we would one. So,
Okay.
hi again. Most of you know my name is Janice, and I'm in the microphone here. My name is Janice Faraz, and I was called by Spirit in 2014 to volunteer as the youth empowerment leader for Center for Spiritual Living, which is something I felt very passionate about. Empowering children, I've always been passionate about. So that was in 2014, and I think we had 0 to 1 student. We had Kaua'i. Our youth empowerment program focuses on empowering children by nurturing individual talents and abilities that we're all born with, and helping children strengthen relationships first with themselves, their family members, their community, their pets, and the planet, which are all recognized as God in our program. Last September, when we started to grow, we launched open house for our youth empowerment program, and it was a great success. We had a clown and drum circle, a labyrinth, smoothie station, pizza and an artist in residence, and a lot of children came. It was very successful, and our numbers in the kitchen began to grow. Yes, and also last year, Patrick and Rita did an after-school program that was very successful, empowering children through theater. In 2.5 years, our vision is to open a school, a full-time school for the children that focuses on these values. As we continue over the next 2.5 years, we plan on offering more services to the children of Kauai through another after-school program or two next year. And then summer 2019, we want to have a summer camp for children. So we're slowly building up to opening our school, which takes about 2 years of just planning to do it right. So we're right on target with this. And as we continue to grow, we're going to need more volunteers. If you're interested and have a passion with children, just check in with me. We love getting ideas and expertise. And together we are going to do it.
Thank you, honey. A special thing with Janice, I mean, I can't say it enough. Before you all met me, I was 5 years as a youth director and then a youth minister.